Welcome everyone, Costin here with a discussion about Total War Warhammer 3, the Old World Beta mod. And what is this mod all about, you might ask? Well, it's about recreating the old world in Warhammer 3. So basically, imagine the Warhammer 1 campaign map, though much larger, within Warhammer 3. And you get this, all the way from the Badlands over here to Norsca. I think it actually may run better than the Warhammer 3 Immortal Empires map, though it is probably smaller overall. Like, it does do a great work. So what it is doing is expanding many areas that do exist already in Warhammer 3, expanding provinces, changing region of control, changing legendary lord positions. Like, the changeling still starts in Stirland, for instance, but there are also significant changes elsewhere. So, for instance, like with Midland rather, for instance, you get Midland proper, Midland Heimroad, and Drakwold. So you do have all of these regions, and electric counts as a result of this end up being significantly stronger as a result of it. Like, there's a lot of things to be discussed about it. This is the first beta version of it that is available. So there's still a lot of work in progress, and I do think that there are things that absolutely do need to be changed, but it is certainly a great project because Immortal Empires, all the parts of the world, well, honestly, the old world is the heart and soul of Warhammer Fantasy as far as I'm concerned. Not like yes, there's obviously Lustria and all that, but still. This map, by the way, I think is like significantly better because you don't have Kislev basically being irrelevant when we're talking about like a region. Kislev is very relevant on this map. I also want to note something here on this particular map, that the distance between settlements, when we're looking at a lot of them, yes, some of them can be reached from one turn to another. So you look at Fort Ostrak, obviously you can reach it from the settlement in Northern Oblast very, very quickly. But a lot of settlements are designed in such a way that you will not be able to reach them within a single turn. And this is actually a very significant point to make, because one of the things that does happen within the context of Warhammer 3 Immortal Empires is you end up with a lot of campaigns on campaign situations where you're just hopping from one settlement to another. Now, it depends on the area, but that is a far more common situation than one might think. Looking at this map, I think that that's going to be far less common. What this means is that some of the best battles that we do have in Warhammer 3, which are field battles, are going to be more common than they are in Immortal Empires at the moment. And also, yeah, a lot of Legendary Lords do make far more sense on this map than they do in Immortal Empires, though some of them don't. What is Grimgor doing in Albion? I have no idea. But let's start with Albion, make our way through Norsca, Kislev, and go basically in a circular fashion, let's say. So, Grimgor, so you have Albion, basically Britain, and, well, apparently it is still a pisshole in this universe. Jokes aside, like, you've got Grimgor, Manfred, Marcus Wolfhard, Jan Bo, Malus Darkblade, Nikai, and Bellicor. Can anyone say Thunderdome? Because this sure as hell is going to be a Thunderdome. Now, here's an unfortunate side effect. Like, Grimgor starts in a wasteland territory, but they haven't changed the climate for him with this. Now, I believe that when we're looking at this mod, the intent here, now I'm not entirely certain, the intent is to make a map that can be used with other mods. So people have tried this with SFO, it apparently works. We will see about that. But, like, for instance, having a situation like where you have a lot of unsuitable climate for these guys in their campaigns is gonna create a ton of issues to deal with for these campaigns and limit their potential. So there is, like, the intent is more to make cool situations as opposed to make situations where the campaigns in a long term would be very interesting. Like, the only ones, like Marcus, okay, he's fine enough as it is, because he'd just basically take this entire area, then hop on over to Bretonia and make his way to the Empire. But Grimgor, given his climate suitability situation, probably not a great campaign to deal with. Jan Bo, decent enough, sure, and absolutely Malice Darkblade also decent enough. But yeah, this will look crazy. Like, imagine playing this as Marcus Wolfart, where you've got Be'lakor, Manfred, and Grimgor to contend with, and maybe Malice Darkblade, and your only potential ally is Jan Bo. Yeah, you got a feel for Marcus Wolfart. He would be crushed. I mean, he starts a war with that's an enormous army over there of Wood Elves that would. Yeah, 13 units versus 12, that would be a pretty brutal situation to deal with. So, some balancing does need to be done. Some things do need to be improved on when we're looking at this map. There's a lot of greater demons as well as starting enemies, for instance, for some of these guys. Though the unholy alliance between Grimgor and Manfred, because they start a war with the same faction, and they're going to compete for the territory. Who knows? It does look like it's going to be pretty crazy. I'm not sure how I would deal with the situation as Grimgor. Okay, so you've got the pack of legendary lords here. Let's go into Norsca. We do not have the castaways. We have Norsca. So Lokir does start pretty close to Malice Darkblade, so they can ally themselves. And Lokir has a great campaign in Immortal Empires. Now, we're looking at this situation. He does start with the Cape of Norsca. He does start at war with the Bjorlings with his starting situation. He doesn't have a starting Black Ark. Not that that really matters for Lokir, given his faction effects. And we do have the Order of the Blazing Sun, Southern Realms situation over there. So yeah, Southern Realms. What are the Southern Realms doing over here? I have no idea. But regardless, so we do have various factions in Norsca. So we got Lokir on the western side. We got Kugaf is in a better situation than he is currently in Immortal Empires, or even Realms of Chaos. He starts a war with Zelensky faction. He starts with the territory. He is going to have that unfortunate situation where he's going to have to deal with the provincial capital as one of his first battles, which is not a great situation, but... And then he's going to have to deal with Lokir. You do have Nakari in a situation where Nakari can dominate Lokir, can wipe out Kugaf. But you've got a few problems as Nakari, like Skarbrand. Let me put it in the most blunt possible way possible. Nakari's army gets shredded by Skarbrand's army in the early game. Guess what Skarbrand's always going to do in this situation? And you've got the Cult of Ulrich, which did exist within the Beastmen campaign, that minor Beastmen campaign. So like, what is mid... Like, some of these things are weird. I think that there were a lot of decisions made for the sake of variety of enemies as opposed to how sensical they were, and I think that was the intent. And then you've got the Sisters of Twilight. Like, meat is back on the menu for both Skarbrand and Nakari in this situation. Though, to be honest, the sisters could probably wipe both of them out at the same time. Consider that the challenge gauntlet thrown down. You've got Kolek, who, Jesus, like, imagine playing a sisters campaign with Kolek, Skarbrand, Nakari surrounding you, and Kugaf. Jeez, that is... I mean, you'll wipe all of them out, but damn, that is something else, I gotta admit. Then you have Sinnelleos off the coast over here. Yeah, she's gonna be meat on the menu for pretty much everyone that surrounds her. Though she doesn't have any major faction that she's gonna have to deal with very, very quickly. You do have Axiatl over here, right next to Kolek. That's an interesting discussion to be had. Then Axiatl is gonna wipe out poor Surfa Ek. Okay, so he is not dueling a Bloodthirster from turn 1. That's not the case anymore. Yeah, Axiatl looks like he's in a position to really be powerful. You've got Archeon right next to Boris Ursus, so that rivalry is gonna keep going. Although it should be pointed out that Boris Ursus, there is some distance between Boris Ursus, and Boris Ursus does look like he's going to start a war. He does start a war with the Sarl, who do hold the Bay of Blades. What should be pointed out is a lot of these territories are very, very underdeveloped. So level 1, no structures in them, absolutely nothing in them, which is a bit of a shame, I think. Like, better development could be certainly welcome. But again, early stages, just mentioning things that would be interesting. Grimgor and Albion doesn't quite make sense, I feel. Like, if anything, like, Grimgor starting the Badlands in Warhammer 1 made sense. Then you had the situation where You know, you could actually have put him next to Kislev, because he did try and go Kislev. He got kicked out thanks to Catherine. But Boris Ursus has Archeon to the west, Sigvald to the east. But he does have an ally in Grombrindal over here. So teaming Boris Ursus and Grombrindal, teaming up to beat the shit out of Sigvald and Archeon, that sounds like a fun idea. Though then Azazel and Daniel are right here to the north. Oh, I wonder when we're looking at that. We do also have Trog over here in the lair of the Troll King. So he's got the Troll Gulf over there with the lair of the Troll King as a starting situation. And he does start at war with Kislev. So no more mystical bullshit start over there. Although, if you are playing as Trog, dealing with Borsors might actually be the better move instead of trying to move in against Kislev. Although you might want to move against Kislev before Izag wipes everything out. But let's just continue on Norsca before I go into Kislev itself. You do have Kairos Fate Weaver over here, kind of like isolated in a relatively safe position. Like, I do like the fact that, like, the weaker factions, yes, Kairos does count as part of that. They do start in better positions. Although Kugav starting close enough to Lokir, that is going to be a problem for him. Poor Kugav, he can't get the break. Like, the thing is, though, Lokir is going to have his own issues to deal with because you've got Nakari over there. But, like, Kugav next to the sisters and Lokir, you got to feel for Kugav. He's going to get screwed by that. Whereas Kairos is in a much, much, much better situation. At least it's not Gorst, I suppose. Then, for whatever random reason, Cetra is in Norsca. I mean, historically, lore-wise, he did go there, but it's a bit of a ridiculous situation with Cetra's campaign. You do have Karakadraku, which is actually a fairly substantial faction. If you're going to play this on Legendary, damn, like, Karakadraku is going to steamroll over here. This is an interesting one. So you got what's called... you do have... Oh jeez, this welcome to Hell Pit, the real Hell Pit. Apparently, like, Fraught Unclean has gone full on Ikiclaw over here and summoned a bunch of demons of Nurgle and Slanesh and Khorne. I mean, you'll wipe them out with Fraught's army. It's gonna be interesting, but still, the ninth circle of the pit bot. Starting with the minor settlement, that's gonna be interesting, I gotta say. The ninth circle of hell. Okay, that's a good one. I gotta give them, like, hot creators. That is certainly a funny one. And you've got village over here in a safe location. You do have a sea lane, but where is it connected to? I do wonder. Let me just... Okay. Yeah, so you can take that sea lane from all the way there to get on the other side. Well, village, it's gonna take him a while to get the to get the Dark Fortress, but then again, he's gonna gain a vassal. It's kind of tricky. There are two Norscan factions. Yeah, he's gonna he's gonna steamroll through all of this, no problem. Get two Norscan factions and then wipe out Krokadrak pretty damn easily, actually. Cetra may be a bit of an opposition. You do have Astrogoth over here starting with Karak Vlag at war with the demons of Khorne for whatever reason. And then you've got Valkia right here fighting Skaven. Okay, we'll roll it. Oh, Jesus. Valkia and Astrogoth side by side against the Stankia. Damn. Like, as I said, this seems like it's designed to create certain interesting situations, which is a good thing, don't get me wrong, but some of the things don't quite make sense. Valkia probably, like, I think, like, if Skarbrand started here and Valkia started in Norsca, that would probably be better in some ways. Having to deal with Kislev early on as Warriors of Chaos, well, that's going to be interesting, but yeah, with Stankia, who starts with a minor settlement. Katrin, like, I kind of wish some of these factions did start with more, but Katrin is at war with the minor Kislev faction. So is Kastalton, for the record, so that's not necessarily changed. It makes more sense than having Casmarars to deal with from the very start. Although, don't worry about that. We got vampire counts for whatever reason. The Borodin Coven over here, and yeah, we still have Prague. which now is no longer just its own city. This is actually extremely useful, far more so than one might think. Although it should be pointed out that the income building from the product city is not necessarily as useful in a province as a regular income building. Still, Kislev itself, like they've added the proper provinces for Kislev, Erengrad. Okay, Kasaltin does start with Erengrad. Kislev is much bigger and far more meaningful as a region. And now Hellpit isn't just like... like, I think like the Kislev campaigns are going to be an interesting experience because you're going to descend to that ninth circle of hell. Okay. Alright. But at least it's not complete misery. Although you do have, like, this is the thing, what I'm talking about, Grimgor. Like, Grimgor makes more sense to be a raid against Kislev, whereas Azag makes more sense to be a raid against the Empire. Just my perspective on that. Swapping positions, that doesn't make sense either, but still. Ooh, you got a feel for Kislev, though. They're going to get smacked by Azag. That's not going to be a fun one if you decide to play a Kislev campaign. Greenskins are something else in a campaign. Looking at the situation, there aren't any other legendary lords to mention over here, because, like, yeah, until we start talking about Festus. Though Festus is not just going to wipe out Hockland as easily as he does initially. He does start a war with Skaven, it looks like. And we do have some Vampire Council over here as well. So that's going to... Like, what I like about this is, like, it's going to keep Hockland alive for longer, which, if you're playing an Imperial campaign, that is a godsend, because, like, one of the problems with the Empire in Warhammer 3 right now is, like, a lot of these factions just get annihilated very, very quickly, and it's not fun dealing with that, because, like, having to play Karl Franz and rush Festus every single time and not having territory to take is not a great and fun experience. So now I'm using like the mixer, which, like, yeah, that's why I have Hadi over here. Kazrax does seem like he's gonna annihilate Hadi, however, so he's probably gonna put a Hearthstone over here. Like, I don't know if I could win this battle actually, because he's got Minotaurs and Vestigors. Yeah, some things need to be improved on that. The Black Pit is the Black Pit. Karborg is Karborg. What is going on over here? That is my question. Skaven. Yeah, when you see a ruin like that, it is obviously Skaven. Is Marienburg more defensible? Nope, it is not. Although it is two different provinces right now. So maybe that will help, because one of the problems with Marienburg is how indefensible it is. You got the Marches of Coron, you got Coron itself over there. So Lewin-Lincoln's campaign is going to be far better because he's got a greater... Like, one of the problems with playing Lewin, he's got the power, but his campaign is misery to play in Immortal Empires, because you end up in that situation where you have to deal with Be'lakor to the north. He's kind of constantly attack you, and then you have to expand west and south. Whereas, yeah, here it's a lot better. Looking at Karl Franz's situation, like, yeah, he still has to deal with those rebels. Though, thankfully, you don't have to deal with Helmgart initially. You will, because there's Greenskins over here controlling the west. But if you're playing as Karl Franz, well, it is a much better situation. And the more important thing about Karl Franz is you now have territory to actually expanding, territory to take. So you've got Greenskins, you've got Skaven, you've got stuff you can take. This is important because having territory that you can conquer is very, very crucial. And you have, like, you're not going to run around saving the Empire. Like, the Empire is going to have to hold on itself. But what's great about this is there's a lot more opportunities. Vlad still starts in Drakenhof, as it should be. Well and good. So Vlad is in a... Oh, well, he's going to be in a scary position, but he might have a lot more potential. Karakadrin is kind of weird right there. Not sure. I mean, it does make sense, but it's like they certainly have changed the terrain position. But you do have Peak Pass, which is different right now. You start a war with ogres. Okay, then. You start a war with ogres. There's also greenskins over here to tackle. So yeah, a really good expansion path over there for Ungrim. Certainly a much better situation to deal with than what Ungrim has to deal with by default. Oh dear. Oh dear. So, let me get this straight. You put Tarax next to Dryka. You remove Azag, because he was here that, like, he was one of the main threats. So, like, Azag gets removed, but you replace him with Tarax. I'm not sure what's worse, really. Jesus. Though, to be fair, the Beastmen are not really that great when under the control of the AI, but say goodbye to Talabekland is all I'm gonna say. Jeez. Though, Tarks got killed, I think it was during the Siege of Altdorf in the lore. Damn, I'm looking at this map and all I'm thinking about in my head is like how this would unfold in an actual campaign. Then you got Balthazar Gelt. He does start with Solon's capital. You've got the Sol Valley, and you've got all of these territories. Some of these. So you've got Bugman's Brewery. Okay, then. Okay. And then you've got Scrag at war with those guys, so you might want to wipe, like, if you're playing Gelt, you're probably going to want to wipe out Scrag. Like, this is a good thing, like, Gelt also has an expansion path available to him in this campaign. What about Durfa? Well, he no longer starts at war with dwarves, which kind of makes sense for him to start at war with the dwarves. There's also a pathway over here, thankfully. Like, this is one of the problems, like, if you're playing an Imperial campaign and you want to take this territory, let's say you're playing Gelt, you want to take, like, the Grey Mountains, right? Because it's good territory. Well, fighting Durfa is a nightmare because you can't just cross the mountains to attack him. Now you can, and he's not starting a war, and then you've got multiple factions over here in Alpha Lauren. Orion's start is also better, though he does have Castle Quinels, but it is level 1 over here, so yeah, it's going to be an easier fight. He could win that. Though, if you're playing the Wood Elves, you might just want to go on a conquest of the Wood Elf territory yourself, like just wiping out all these major, minor factions of the Wood Elves. Looking further at Bretonia. So you got the Haunted Ridge. Okay, now you no longer have that Sprout province. Carrick Zephlin is now a proper dwarf fortress. Montfort is the same. Okay, looking at Grom, he starts with minor territory, and he starts a war with Skaven. He's gonna wipe them out. He's gonna make them lunch. Let's just say that. Okay, what's the border? No. Okay. Hold on. Okay. Alright, so you can, like, you fight this army, then come back, then you recruit some units. Or actually, you just move your army over here and you use the underway to attack this capital, because, like, I would not take Grom's initial army to attack fortified settlement. Just a perspective on that. You could do it, but yeah, it's probably just better. Though, yeah, the Massive Oracle, like, one of the problems in Grom's campaign is the limited terrain. At least now, he does have some options available to him. Not necessarily great options, but at least they do exist. And there's some ogres as well that he might take advantage of. The important thing is, like, you can wipe out Bretonia, or wipe out the Skaven. You have demons in Bretonia. Okay, Alberic is over here fighting Nurgle. Okay. The Fey Enchantress, if we're looking at Carcassonne, she does still start a war with the Greenskin Red Axis tribe in this particular case. Much easier, much better path to expand over here. Though she still is pretty damn close to Skavenflight, and in fact, it's actually worse because, yeah, there's a path over there. Enjoy defending against Sick Claws, Death Contraption. But, like, yeah, every area I'm seeing over here, it seems a lot better. Rapunzel seems to be aimed at Mogre. So, yeah, Rapunzel actually being in Bretonia, kind of a bit of a nerf, actually, because one of the main benefits Rapunzel has is being in the desert, she can easily level up heroes. But all the same, she does start on coast, so hey, head over to Albion's or deal with some sea battles if you're going to level up, if you're going to do the vows. Bretonia does seem like it's going to be far more powerful in this than it is in the default game. Kemmler is going to have some issues. But yeah, Bretonia seems to be a strong beneficiary over here. Let's take a look. Deathmaster Snitch, oh yeah. The Gnaw Pit, Deathmaster Snitch starting in Estalia. Well, say good, welcome to Estalia, gentlemen. Well, I can say goodbye, Estalia. They're gonna be murdered by the horde of Skaven, and there's nothing really to stop them. Well, they were carved, but the thing is, Skaven and Dark Elves can get along. So it's like if you're playing Snitch or if you're playing Rakarth, you ally that there. Rakarth is a huge beneficiary of this because like one of the problems in the base campaign is like terrain is just not that great. He does start. There's a lot of factions that start with minor territories, though. Him starting with the tier 2 barracks is a major buff to Rakarth's campaign. Gotta point that out. So he's gonna start in that very safe corner. And you can also go into the Chaos Wasteland. Remember something, Dark Elves do thrive against Chaos, surprisingly so. They kind of hard counter them in a lot of ways. Well, not necessarily hard counter, but they can handle it. Malagor is over here in the mountains in the Estalian Highlands at war with an Estalian with the Southern Realm faction. He's gonna wipe them the hell out very, very quickly. And yeah, Ikeclaw. You know, one of the things I really disliked about Ikeclaw's campaign, like the territorial expansion he had to deal with, was not great. Now he actually has territory. Skaven Blight gets a major buff with this. Like Helpit, Skaven Blight are substantially better than this. Because remember, Skaven economies depend on holding a lot of regions within a province. So one of the issues you encounter with Skaven Blight and Helpit is that you have a limited economy because of the way the Skaven economy works. That's no longer the case. Like free, it would have been better for 4, but free is pretty good. It does seem like you're going to be aimed at either Estalia or at Tylea or both, because you're freaking Skaven. Although you now have an even worse neighbor as the dwarf to deal with, and that is, of course, Foric Ironbrow. Oof, Belagar is no longer here. Foric Ironbrow has come in, and then you've got Skrolk as well. Further days. Well, at least there's a chance of a Skaven Mega Alliance. Scroll, Ikeclaw, Snitch. Well, seems really, really viable, actually. And Ikeclaw and Snitch is just fucking terrifying in of itself, I'll be honest. But they're probably going to need that against Foric Ironbrow. And you've got Wulfric for whatever reason. Though he is a world wanderer, so Wulfric actually starting far away from Norsca makes sense. And he does have all these wonderful ports over here. Got Spine Port held by Skaven. There's a lot of shit held by the Skaven in this. Far more so. They spread like the vermin they freaking are. Good stuff. Why is that navy? Why we have a navy as pirate army on land? Bit of a weird one. We'll roll with it. Alright, so some Southern Realms. Okay, let's move along the coast. We got Arnissa in control of Sartosa. And Sartosa is now a better region. Okay, so she... Like, one of the problems with Sartosa is, like, dealing with Belagar and Ikeclaw is brutal, as the vampire counts. They're just not that great. Southern Realms don't really have anything, but you do have, like, Skrolk, you have Gelt over there. Karakern does seem like a really good province at this stage, actually, when we're looking at it. It does seem like Cetra has left a bunch of Tomb Kings along the way as he marched north. And then you got, of course, Skaven, though you also have Zufbar under Marandin right here in the mountains. Seems pretty great so far. Moving on into the Badlands, the last area to really cover over here. So Karazakarank does seem to be an incredibly strong defensive position, and you got the Silver Road, so Pillars of Grugni, all that. Pretty solid, pretty strong, and really straightforward expansion path, which will benefit for Grim, because, like, yeah, having a straightforward, simple expansion path like that is something that's gonna work well. Southern Realms, again. Barak Var is pretty damn isolated, though, and they're probably gonna suffer. Yeah, the model there doesn't quite work. They're kind of gonna suffer because they're isolated. Although the distance between them and Warzag is far greater, so and they've got Volkmar, so Volkmar is gonna help them out. I imagine. Arkan the Black starting next to Forgram. Oof, that's gonna be an interesting one for Arkan to deal with, because like the armor piercing of Tomb Kings is not exactly all that great. Clan Rictus starting with Crookback Mountain over here. Oof. Oh, well, Clan Rictus might just become a powerhouse. Or Drazif will just wipe them out. Because, yeah, Drazif starts... sadly enough, he starts them Chaos Dwarves starting with minor settlements really hurts them, far more so than other factions. Like, this is not a minor issue, because, like, you're gonna have some problems with material production. But, hey, you know, wipe out the vampire counts, take this territory, move on. Though, again, you're gonna have a couple of issues dealing with that. But still, slower start, to be sure. Drazov will still steamroll. However, you got, and well, one of the things is Khazor is going to be annihilated by Quick. Remember, major AI factions do better than minor ones. But then you've got Skarsnik over here. Where is Balagar? That's my question. I can't find him. I can't see him. Let me. Oh, there we go. So we got the War of Eight Peaks, really. Like, we've got all the principal players close to each other, because it didn't really feel like a war all that much like a war. So you got. So Balagar right now will start. He will start with Grimspeak. Okay, fair enough. At war with ogres, he'll annihilate those very, very easily. And deal with Eliasaro, take Black Crag, take all of this territory. Though it's kind of an awkward situation when your unit recruitment is far away, but then again, Balagar doesn't really need an army for the first few turns, so he'll be fine. And then, yeah, march to deal with... who has Carrick 8 Peaks is my question. Where is Carrick 8 Peaks on this map? So we got Black Crag, it should be further south. Wait. Alright, Carcassonne. Where is 8 Peaks? Or wait. Oh, okay. Right. Westgate, Silver Tran, Dragon Crag. Well, at least they're gonna fight each other, even if there is no 8 Peaks. How's that gonna work exactly? That's something I'm wondering about. Am I just missing something? Or, well, this is 8 Peaks, right? It's just not called 8 Peaks, but yeah, this is essentially it, right? Because it's like the 8 Peaks, as you can tell. It's just like the name is not there for any, like, you've got the East Gate, you've got the West Gate, you've got the Silver Tarn, right? Okay. And Skarsnik starts with a gold mine, as of course he does, with the minor settlement. But then again, Skarsnik does start with nasty Skulker recruitment, so he's gonna wipe out these Skaven, like deal with them, spend the turn recruiting, then march on the city, take it out. Then yeah, basically Queek and Belagar are just gonna march and try and deal with the vermin that is infesting 8 Peaks. Okay. Queek, Belagar, Skarsnik fighting war. That's a fairly sensible one. Gorst, sweet Jesus. Who do you think is going to take over the southern Badlands? Hey, it is... Yeah, this guy's going to be something else. Although, you've got Katep. Okay, Katep is in a much, much better situation over here than he is in the base game. Like, he actually has a sensible campaign over here. Clan Helheim is at war with Warzak. Paid for Warzak. Poor Warzak, he gets screwed. Teclis, however, oof. I think Teclis should have started closer to Empires. Like, I don't think Teclis has ever had any kind of presence in the Badlands. But, hey, you have Teclis right now. How he's gonna deal with the climate is a different discussion, but hey, at least he's around here. Yeah, war with some Dark Elves of all people, weirdly enough, who controlled the Flying Fortress. Okay, lore preference, I suppose. Anyway, just got a bunch of archers over here. Greenskins, deal with them. No Alfarian, which is a shame. Volkmar here on the coast with the with the Citadel, dealing with some Greenskins, starting with the pretty sizable contingent. So you have the Barkvar, Teclis. Yeah, I think Warzak is going to suffer quite a bit from this, and that is it. It looks wonderful. I am very much looking forward to playing this campaign. Some things do need to be improved on, but you know what? This is one of the most impressive mods I've seen in a long time. Mods that handle maps, like just map expansion in general, is like difficult to pull off. And look, the thing is, like, yes, a lot of it is desolate and it's certainly lacking the detail that you might see, like in a Warhammer, in a proper creative assembly map. But there's also, it is a playable map actually. Like that's the thing. Like it's not just completely desolate as I've seen with other maps being. There's terrain features. There's things that make them interesting. There's also a lack of features, which yes should be improved on. But geez, this is playable and it looks like a load of fun. So modders can work miracles sometimes. Costine signing out. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and enable notifications. Stay tuned for more.